Well, it's Tax Tip Tuesday, and Lori Carpenter is here just a couple more times as we're nearing the deadline. But today we're going to talk about those who might be working at home, because this has become, since COVID, really some folks went to work at home and never went back, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So when it comes to those who work from home, first of all, who qualifies when it comes to a deduction?
Well, if you are an employee, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act eliminated employee deductions for right now, so that change has affected a lot of people who are an employee. But if you own your own business, have a side gig, or have an S corporation, there's potential of some deductibility of your home office.
So basically, the deductibility is not for those who work for someone else, only for those who are working for themselves.
Exactly.
Okay, well, that automatically probably eliminated a lot of you right now. So let's get to those who do own their own business now and talk about some of these things that they're eligible to deduct. Would that be okay?
Sure.
Okay, so home office. Would this mean like the office itself, the space?
Yeah, the office space, their desk, their space, if it's in its own room and is regularly and necessarily used for their business use, then it can be a deduction, and everything related to that room can be.
So like, what if you redo the room or paint the room or add on the room just for that purpose? You can use that as well as a deduction?
You can. You absolutely can.
Nice. Yeah. Good to know. Okay, up next on the list, what other expenses would qualify related to that?
Yeah, so anything specific for the business, and there are a couple of ways of calculating it. You can calculate using the simplified method, which basically says you're going to take $5 per square foot.
Okay.
If you don't have all of your expenses for your whole household, that's the easiest way to do it. If you keep track of all of your expenses, your utilities, your insurance, your mortgage, interest, then you can take a percentage of your whole house, of whatever that room is. You can take the percentage of all of those items as your home office deduction. It's a lot more work, but a lot of times it pays off.
Well, yeah, and in this case, these are the kinds of things that you can help people decide whether they are or not eligible.
Yes.
Those things in their home office space. Okay.
Right.
Next on the list, supplies and equipment. This is a good one.
Yeah, so everything that you need that you're going to use for business, completely for business, you can take 100% of that as a deduction on your business.
So like if you have a printer in there with paper that's only used for that business.
Exactly.
Deduct it.
Your software, your scanners if you have those, your computer, an extra screen if you like to have 2 screens on your computer.
Okay.
All of that. Yeah.
See, these are things that maybe you didn't know that now you know, and that's why you ask a pro. Okay, I think we have additional information to talk about, including for the internet and phone. And this one could be tricky, I would think, because it would have to be a separate phone line, right?
Not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
If you have internet and phone that you are using in your household and you're using it at least half of the time for your business, then you can take that at whatever percentage you're using it. So let's say it's 75% business use, then you can take 75% of that total cost.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have to have detailed records on stuff like that?
It is good to have a good record.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that could be tricky too, I would think.
Well, record keeping is a huge portion of this. You want to be able to prove, if there's an audit, you want to have all of your documents and be able to prove that you had all of these expenses.
See, that is important to know, because if you don't have that and you do get audited, that's where it can be really tricky, right?
Exactly right.
So are these the things that you would advise people when they come to see you and make sure they're keeping the right documentation?
Yes, and our website actually has a summary page that you can print and include these items, but it's always still important for you to keep every bit of that documentation just in case there is an audit.
Gosh, that's really good to know, yeah. And we're actually showing the website. And by the way, you can scan that QR code. It'll take you to the website anytime. We might have a couple more items on the list before we wrap up. So those include state tax considerations. What does that mean?
Just to be sure that sometimes the states don't recognize the same deductions that the IRS does. And if you go across state lines, you might find things that are a little bit different and some extra credits there as well.
Okay.
Right. Just a few extra pieces of information to know.
This is all the kind of thing that you can get answered. And you already mentioned across state lines. Is that what you were talking about?
It was, yeah.
Okay. All righty. Well, perfect. All of this is related to that remote work, which, again, from the top, you made clear, if you're working for somebody else, it doesn't matter anyway.
Right.
Right?
That's right.
All right. StadlerTax.com is the website. It's where you want to go. Scan the QR code. Visit them now. Schedule an appointment if you have any last-minute questions. And, hey, our time is almost up, but you'll be back one more time, right?
One more. That's it.
And that'll be probably to tell us that if we're not going to make the deadline, there's some things we need to do.
Probably.
All right, Lori, thank you so much. Tax Tip Tuesdays here on Good Day Live. Stay with us. We'll be right back.